You're watching and listening to Conscious Evolution Media, shifting global consciousness at consciousevolutionmedia.com.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Kids Talk Foundation, a global nonprofit organization providing youth advocacy, television programming, and training services in the United States, along with comprehensive medical and educational services for the developing world, most recently in Kenya, Africa, where Kids Talk Foundation provides a feeding program, medical care, and educational services to over 1,300 young people each day. Please help our youth and place your donation. Go to www.kidstalk.org. Are you in the entertainment industry? If you answered yes and you want to promote yourself, your passion, and profession, check out Creative Independent Artist magazines at CIAartists.com. Endorsed by Kids Talk Foundation worldwide.
Let's face it, unless you've been hiding under a rock, you know that everyone's talking about Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and how to connect with clients online. Join Constance M. Drew, the Barefoot Marketer, as she helps business owners create strategic digital online, social media, and search engine optimization marketing strategies to reach global clients while working in bare feet. Here's your Internet TV host, Constance Drew.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Constance Drew, a.k.a. the Barefoot Marketer, coming to you live from New Orleans, Louisiana. I welcome everybody today. Glad that you could join us. And I'd like to introduce the special guest that I have today. I have Lauren Carroll, who is a general business studies major at Loyola University in New Orleans, Louisiana. She's originally from Wilmington, Delaware, and recently graduated from St. Mark's High School in 2012. She is a freshman at Loyola and is both enjoying her college experience as well as the city of New Orleans. Lauren became part of AIESEC Loyola in the fall of 2012 and has moved up as Vice President of Exchange in the upcoming semester. I'd like to welcome Lauren. Lauren, how are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. What do we have going on in the background there? Is it a parade?
It sounds like it. I don't know. It's college.
Yes. Well, welcome to the show, Lauren. I'm glad that you could join us this evening. I thought this would be an excellent topic, talking about internship, and how they can help businesses to grow. So I'd like for you to start out, though, by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely have a parade going on.
I know. I apologize. I know. It's okay. Weird. Sorry. So I am from Delaware, as you said, and I came to school in New Orleans kind of on a whim. Didn't really. When I was here, I joined ISAC.
Okay, Lauren. You still with us?
Yes.
Okay. Can you repeat that, please?
So, okay, I was just saying that I came from Delaware, as you said. I came to Loyola kind of on a know what I was doing, but I really enjoyed it here. And in my freshman year, I joined ISEC Loyola, which is the internship program, and it's really helped students grow and develop their business skills as well.
Okay, I'm going to let you get into that a little bit more in a minute, but I'd like to find out a little bit more about you, the person.
Okay.
Okay, because I know you said you came here on a whim.
Yeah.
Do you want to go into that a little bit more? Tell us why New Orleans has been appealing to you, what Loyola has brought to you?
Yes. I applied just frankly because the Common App was free for Loyola, so I didn't do any research on the school. I was so set to go to a different school, not here, but I ended up coming here because they offered me a good amount of scholarship money, which is always good. And I actually came here, walked in the first day, not having been to New Orleans, not having visited the school at all. So it was really last minute, but I think I made the right decision. So I really had no knowledge of New Orleans prior to coming here either. So.
And I think you probably found, even if you had any prior knowledge, New Orleans is definitely different than.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a great
different.
city. but it's got its own culture, its own little unique ways of doing things.
Yes,
Well,
definitely.
we're glad you're here. Tell me a little bit about, because you're a general business studies major, I believe.
Yes, I actually just switched the other day to music industry studies. I'm really interested in the possibility of becoming a music lawyer. I'm really
Okay.
intrigued by law, and I mean, being in New Orleans, I fell in love with the music and everything around it, and I grew up with music my whole life. So, um, as you can tell from outside right now, there's something going on.
No, it's New Orleans.
I know. I think they're finally done.
Well, I know it is, like we're saying, Mardi Gras, Carnival season. So, okay, well, let's talk a little bit about ASEC. Can
Mhm.
you give us a little bit of history on it, and again, kind of what intrigued you to become involved with them?
Yes. Well, the history of ISEC, their main purpose is, or our main purpose is to cultivate peace and understanding of cultures through exchange. And it actually has an interesting history. It started right after World War II in 1948 between France and Germany. So, of course, those two countries right after World War II still kind of had their differences, and somebody said, "Hey, let's get an intern from this company, from this French company, bring it to this German company, and vice versa, just to cultivate this uh, a culture of peace." So that's how it started, and it has grown to over 113 countries, um, to really bring out this peace between civilizations. And I got interested in it because I haven't really done much traveling in my life, but it's something that's always appealed to me, and I love learning about other cultures. In high school, I was lucky enough to participate in an Irish exchange program, so I just loved that idea of exchange and learning about different cultures, and that's really what ISEC's mission is.
So it sounds like it's a good fit for you.
Yes,
Can,
definitely.
can you give us an idea of what some of the interns would be like?
Well, we do, because we are established in so many countries, they come from all over, but we have a couple of internship stems, I guess you can say. So one of them would be the business program, which students go abroad places to do an intern with an established business, and it's to help them grow in their field. That's really what that particular exchange is looking for. There's also another one called Community Develop Program, where students go abroad to do service work and mission. So a lot of students from America do that in Brazil, in the Philippines, and um, Cambodia, Vietnam. It's really all over. So as far as what the interns are like, it depends on the person, it depends on the place, but that's what we do, is try to bring understanding with all these different people from all over.
Now, with most of these, are they currently college students? Or are we talking about, can you kind of explain a little bit more about that?
Yes. Well, these students have to be in a schooling programs, but they can be graduate, they can be or undergrad, graduate, doctorate, um, any degree program, and they have to be graduated for a year. And after it gets more than a year, they cannot be older than that. So there's a wide range of knowledge as well.
Okay. And I know you and I have talked a little bit about this, but I'd like for the audience to have an idea of what the process would be. So can you kind of walk us through, just kind of like you did with me when you contacted me about
Yes.
this program and we talked about it?
Sure. Well, when my job is to go to companies and try to get companies to open up internships for international interns. And once a company is somewhat interested, what happens is we walk through. We're needs based. So whatever the company needs, we try to find for them, and they work with us. So you can have an intern anywhere from 3 to 18 months, and if a company could be searching for a student from a particular country, a student from with a particular knowledge base, and we try to work with them to find that. So what happens is we get a job description that the company wants to put on our database. Once that happens, we gain a lot of applications from all over. We then go through the applications and have a pre-screening test to make sure that the students that would be coming speak proficient English and would be a good fit for ISEC to represent us and to represent the company as well. So once that happens, we hand off our short list to the company, and then they have the power of choosing who they want to choose as the ultimate intern.
Now, is that company allowed to interview via
Yes,
Skype or any? Okay.
yes, that's on them. That's between them and the intern, the potential intern, is they would set up an interview at that point.
Okay, so you've walked us through getting to that point, and kind of explain what happens once the company decides that they've chosen an intern to bring aboard.
Okay, so once that happens, we work with them again. We go through the J1 visa. So we work to provide the visa for the student. We have a ton of pre-screening tests just to make sure that the visa will go through. So we work with our national headquarters to ensure that that will happen. We also we take care of their housing and transportation. And when the student arrives, we're the people who receive them. We pick them up from the airport. Once they start doing the internship, we like throw them socials or just make sure they're having a good time in New Orleans or anywhere. Yeah.
So it sounds like you're helping them to acclimate, to actually kind of adapt to the new culture.
Yes.
Okay. And what are the requirements that a business would need in order to consider bringing interns?
Okay, well, the J1 visa has some requirements for companies. They have to have at least $3 million in revenue, or they have to be 25 or more employees, and those are just standards for the J1 visa to even consider an intern. Those are the standards for that. As it's sometimes easier to get. We kind of focus on manufacturing places or IT places. Those we usually get a very big pool of interns that are able to come over. But a lot of what the requirements have to deal with is with the government.
Yeah, understood on that one. Can you give us an example of maybe an intern that you might have placed recently?
Well, our chapter.
Or getting ready to place?
Yeah, our chapter as Loyola is very young. We just started a couple semesters ago. But we're very close to a LC in Austin. It's a local chapter in Austin. It's another ISEC chapter. And they just placed somebody from Egypt, I believe, who came over for it was like a manufacturing job, and someone was telling me that the intern actually ended up having to stay with his parents because they couldn't get the housing straightened out, and once they finally did get the housing straightened out, he didn't want to leave the family because they got so attached to him. And I don't know, the exchange process is rewarding to be open to other cultures and have other people be so impacted.
Tell me a little bit more about what you mean by that.
About being impacted.
I mean, like, what is, if you were to say, like, your core mission with this? I mean, I'm hearing, obviously, like the peace and the understanding, but what, like, ideally, what is it you're wanting the intern to get? Ideally, what are you wanting the business to get?
Okay, well, our world today, obviously, is is moving towards a very global direction, where we have to understand so many cultures, because everyone is connected, especially through the internet. And if people are closed-minded about other cultures, then you can't, it's hard to get all of everything together, and it's hard to focus on developing a good business. And it is a very global society. And to move forward on that, on the individual level, it is to be able to go to another culture and be open to other ideas is something very special. If I had a friend who recently got back from the Middle East through an ISEC internship, and she was very surprised about how open they are and how open, I keep on saying the word open, but she just said there's just this sense of welcoming that Americans don't usually give. And to go and have that experience is very eye-opening. And it doesn't leave you so closed off to your culture. It lets you branch out and experience other ideas of living.
Now, I can definitely see that on the personal level. As a business owner, I mean, I can kind of understand, but can you explain to me what advantages I would have in addition, like from a business perspective? Like, yes, new ideas. What about with their education? Would there be different technologies maybe they know how to do?
Yes. Well, a lot of our businesses we try to focus, a lot of them are trying to open up a business or something overseas. So that does help, having knowledge right there from maybe the country that you're trying to open up for. Additionally, if you're not trying to do that, businesses still find value in interns from, again, they bring another idea. They're allowing you to open up to something you didn't see. And I think that's very important, again, in today's culture. I just heard on your commercial before saying how Facebook and everything is taken over our society, and we just learned about that in class. Like, social media is taken over. And having an intern, maybe from a different country, they're just able to, they could bring you something that you didn't think of, because it is everywhere.
Yes, and I personally work with a lot of international, either employees or I've had international interns, which I'll go into a little bit later on my show, but I definitely understand what you're saying. They do bring a lot, and I think that business owners should be open to that, about what they do bring. Now, what would you say some of the challenges would be for both the intern and a business owner?
Well, challenges will definitely be language. A lot of them are coming over and English is their second language. And so, I was talking about this today in my business communications class, how people can study English, but they still won't have the slang, especially in New Orleans. We have all this slang going on, and it's just so different. So that is a barrier. Also, just culture shock. It's a huge culture shock for a lot of people, and that's a big reason why we, as ISEC, tried to get them acclimated. Sorry, but tried to get them to enjoy their time here and be open to this culture, because it is hard to switch out a culture so fast.
Oh, I mean, definitely. I can see that. So it sounds like there's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of opportunities. I mean, with anything that we try new, especially for business owners that maybe are just venturing into this, there would be challenges, but I think the rewards would definitely be outweighing that.
Yes.
Now, you've given me some good information on this, and I kind of had mentioned this too. I want to ask you, though, how this is helping you as a person to grow. Like, where has this helped you transition a little more, maybe into our environment here?
Hmm.
Has it stretched you a little bit more personally? Can you share a little bit about that with us?
Yes. Well, I am a freshman in college. I just got out of high school, and I really don't feel like I have a lot of business skills, and so it is very hard for me to go and meet with executives face to face and talk to them in a business setting because I've never done that before. It's hard for me. When I talk to you, I just called you out of the blue. I
Yep.
cold called, and those my heart still races before I do it. I can't stand doing it, but I know these are business skills that I'm going to have to that are very valuable for my business career, for what I want to do with my life. And I'm going to have to do it anywhere I go. So I'm pushing myself and uh, throwing myself off the deep end, kind of, to just I'm forcing myself to get good at these skills that I think are so important for anything. And ISEC, being in an organization like this, really helps me to fulfill that. Also, I took a leadership position in my freshman year, which has been very interesting and difficult, especially because I've never had a leadership position before. But it's just invaluable, the experience that I'm learning right now and everything that I'm doing.
I think you're a natural born leader, Lauren. I wouldn't worry about that. Now, you
Thanks.
present yourself very well. So now you've given me like kind of the business, and I'm going to go a little bit further though, because you've mentioned some really important things, I think, as far as like understanding other cultures, understanding being open on a personal level with you. I mean, has this kind of helped you in your transition to New Orleans by working with other people that are transitioning in similar situations?
Yes, it has. I being part of the organization too has allowed me to make really great friends because we're all going through this stress of trying very hard to keep our organization running and keep us on our feet. And it is very stressful, but when you work hard, you play hard, especially in New Orleans. So we
Yes,
all, I have made very good friends and make good friends in a new environment that's going to help you with transitioning to a new place. And I've really come to love New Orleans. I really really like it. I really love it. But I love going home and saying to my friends, "Oh yeah, I'm in New Orleans. So, too bad
yeah.
you're stuck in Delaware." But that's been fun. But yes, just being in this environment, and again, what you said, seeing people who are going through the same thing as me has helped a lot.
Transition is always tough, and I think sometimes if you're kind of, and I think it sounds like you have that in ISAC, that you're getting a lot of support, not
Yes.
only for that internship program, but also for yourself. And I think that's a great combination. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about, and you brought up Facebook a minute ago, because
Mhm.
I actually kind of glanced on your Facebook site, but what kind of marketing, as the vice president, of the ISAC Loyola, are you doing? Is that part of your job? Is that part of your responsibilities?
Well, have 5 different entities in our organization, and that is we have a communications department, we have a talent management department, which is essentially HR, and then we have the 2 exchanges, incoming and outgoing exchange. So it is not necessarily my job because we have communication and we have talent management, which helps us with that. but we all work together for the same goal. Our communications department is working for that, and we have a Facebook group, and we have a website as our chapter, and then we have our national level. They have their website, and I don't know what Facebook and everything. Twitter, I think they have a Twitter. I'm not really sure.
Okay. Now, do you have activities there on campus to promote the organization?
Yes, just today we had informational sessions for students to learn about both being in the organization as well as what they need to do to be sent abroad, because you don't have to be in the business side to be sent abroad. You can just be anyone, really. But we have informational sessions. We've been really working hard to get the word out. We've worked with our study abroad department to try and partner with them to see if we can come up with something. Flyers, Facebook posts, everything that we went to classrooms and did classroom talks, and just we're trying to get the word on campus. So, and hopefully people are starting to notice us.
And I think you said, though, it's relatively new. So how old again is the one on Loyola?
Yes, Loyola, our chapter this is our third semester. So okay. We're very new. But we are among, like, I think United States, we're among chapters who have been around for like 20 years. They've been here since the 60s or 70s, and it's very interesting to see them and how developed they are, and for us to be so young and to strive to be like them. It's a little more stressful, but it's interesting just to see what we can be and how we can develop ourselves.
Well, and I think you brought up a good point, because in a sense you're almost like a startup business.
Yeah, we are.
Like you're a startup, even though you're based on a very solid organization that's been around for years. Mm-hmm. Your particular chapter, you are going to have certain challenges that you run through as being a startup.
Yes.
But it sounds like that and I would imagine if you've been around a few years, typically, for example, in a business, that's usually a growth period. So I would venture to say that if you talk to people that were at Loyola when this started, if you talk to them, that you'd be facing similar challenges, but you're also at a point where you're going to start facing a little different challenges. It's just part of the growth and part of the transition.
Yes, I'm definitely seeing that.
Yeah, and I think, it sounds like you're doing a great job there. I think Loyola is fortunate to have you running this part of it.
Thank you.
If you were to kind of sum it up for me, like, how are you going to get people, and how are you getting people excited about this? You've done a good job so far, but, if I were to say that, like that last push, what would you say to the business owners and to potential interns?
Yes, I think that our organization is something that everyone involved in it is just getting an invaluable experience. It's on both sides, we're gaining skills as a business. You're gaining the skills, you're gaining the knowledge of culture, which is invaluable to any business, especially today, again. On the student side, for me, I'm gaining these invaluable skills to go out and as a leader and become a better business person and a better person in general. For an intern, they're gaining invaluable knowledge of another culture as well. They're getting an experience that not many people get, and it's just, I think that ISEC is it's a very wholehearted organization. It has a very good mission, and
Yes, I thought it was actually a very good fit for the show, considering that we're on Conscious Evolution Media. So, because that is in a lot what I've heard from you is you're trying to raise consciousness, you're trying to raise awareness of different cultures and being able to accept that and embrace that. And I think that's an excellent mission. I really appreciate the time you spent with us. I would ask that you let us know how to get a hold of you. Have I lost you? It sounds like maybe I already lost Lauren. I was just speaking with Lauren Carroll from Loyola ISAC, and if you'd like more information, I know they do have a website. ISAC is actually AIESEC. And as I'm going to sum up a little bit about what my conversation was with Lauren, I appreciate her being a guest. I heard peace and understanding a lot in there, and I think that that in and of itself is a lot to be said. And Lauren, you're not still there with me, are you? No. Okay, guys. We're talking about peace and understanding and being open to new and different, basically, cultures. The reason why I thought she would be an ideal guest for the show is because I think that the whole thing with interns is very important for businesses to consider. A few things I'd like to talk about is that when you decide to take on an intern, you are making a commitment. I think it's important for you to understand that. And what I mean is, as a business owner, I'll give you my personal experience that I had a few years ago in New York City. I had a wonderful experience with some international students. And I had a consulting business, a marketing business, similar to what I have now, except we're much more focused on developing marketing plans, business plans, and helping a lot of technology companies at that time, a lot of startup companies. And what I realized as a business bringing these interns in, that first and foremost, no, this is not a free labor type thing. I know I have some business owners who actually made that comment to me, like, oh man, I need help. Here's a free way for me to get it. I'm going to talk a little bit about that whole free mentality a little bit later in the show. But basically with interns, you can either be paid interns, and I believe ISAC, there is some payment stipends to help with the living expenses and so forth. And you also have unpaid internships from colleges. So I would encourage all business owners first and foremost to actually look into some of the programs that you have at the local colleges around you. And again, like ISAC, I know they've got several different locations. So again, look into that and see. But I think, kind of going back to my experience in New York, I'll walk you through what I did. I was actually similar to what Lauren did. I was contacted by a college. They had heard about me. That actually, I guess, probably heard me speak somewhere at that time. I was doing a lot of speaking, a lot of workshops. And they had approached me about this, and I thought, oh, man, that would be great. Because I had literally just finished MBA in International Studies, and I thought, wow, that really intrigued me. And so I first had to sit down as a business owner and decide what I needed. And I find this a lot with business owners, that when you first start a business and you're not so busy, that's really the time that a lot of systems need to be put in place. That's not always the case, because you never really know when that dime is going to turn and things are going to get very busy for you, thankfully. But knowing the structure of your business, and what I mean by that is basically, who's at the head, obviously you as a business owner at the head, and what kind of help do you need to make this ship run, to make the ship float, to make the ship, go down the river and do what it needs to do. So just from the very beginning, you have to realize what you need to do as far as what kind of positions, what kind of team you're trying to build, what you're trying to accomplish. All that really should go back to your original business plan, in my case, like the vision plan that I've created, and your marketing plan. Because once you kind of understand what you're trying to do, then you can sit down those job descriptions, and that's real important. And I found that a really good exercise even for me as a business owner. Like, what do I need help with? Where could I really, use the help? The other thing I had to keep in mind, though, as bringing in interns was what can I give to them as well? It's a two-way street here. It's not a one-way. It's a two-way. So basically I gave job descriptions, and then I started interviewing interns. And I ended up with some wonderful interns actually coming to me I had one from India and one from Bulgaria that I remember the most. I had a few more great interns. And in my case, what I did was, because we worked so much with marketing, we did a lot of competitor analysis and marketing plans for clients, startup technology businesses. So what we would do is basically go through and we had an office across from the Empire State Building in New York City. And by the way, if you haven't been there, it's a wonderful place. And yes, that is the mecca for the international exchange, so to speak. Literally right around 33rd Street is in around the Empire State Building. You're going to see more nationalities, more cultures than you probably would see in your entire life. So basically, I had my office there across from the Empire State Building. A few blocks down from us, they had New York actually had a library for the business, science, and technology. In this library, they offered small businesses opportunities to expand their business, and through SCORE, through free counseling, through free consulting, that type of thing for startups. But what we took advantage of was they had training into research databases that we needed for market analysis. What I mean by market analysis, what we did was it was very important. I'll give you an example of one company that we were working with. They were about to launch a new Android application. This guy had been in research and development for 2 years with this technology, and he had a great product. But he also needed to know kind of the playing field and what he was stepping into. So what we did, we stepped in and helped him as far as researching the competitor analysis, researching the market analysis. That consisted of being able to go to this library and access databases to do this research that would normally cost several hundred to thousands of dollars for subscriptions. They provided training on accessing these databases, and one thing with interns, I always made sure that I provided them the training they needed in order to do the jobs that I needed them to do. So that was kind of the part of the setup that I had with that. Another utilization that I did with my particular interns was a big part of that time in New York and working with entrepreneurs. Meetup.com was actually popular there, and a very good friend of mine, Andrew Wong, had built actually a phenomenal job as far as creating and building an organization called New York Entrepreneurs Business Network. Again, it was a Meetup.com. It was what he set it up as originally. He had over 8,000 members. I guess when I left there 3 years ago, I've looked recently. He's now up to 12,000 members. Andrew would promote different events at like rooftop parties, and that's what we would do. So with my interns, I would actually have them. That was part of them helping them to get out, kind of helping them acclimate into New York City. But we would go to these rooftop parties and basically use that as a mingle time to mingle with potential clients, to excuse me, to give them a little bit more information about us. And I know we marketed in the sense of we were able to, give slideshows and so forth like that during it. And of course, we usually sponsored something. But that was how I utilized those interns. Now, what I found with that, though, and it's one reason I want to share this with business owners who are considering interns. I think it's an excellent idea. I think that it's something that can help you build your business. I think it's something that can help you take your business to the next level. You need help, and certain help is, it's kind of a delicate balance, though, as I say that, too. You want to be able to take in an intern with the knowing, and I think Lauren mentioned this very well, that you're also giving something back to this intern. They're coming to you with a skill set. They're coming to you with fresh knowledge. They're coming to you with open ideas. They're coming to you with energy. They're coming to you with they have a lot to bring. On the flip side of that, they're still learning. No, they have not been around the block for 20 years like a lot of business owners have been. So you have to take that into consideration and realize that, yes, we've got these, this wonderful opportunity, but what can I give back to this intern? And I know in my case, I did find that it was something that, because it was my first time to do this as well, that you do have to make sure that you allot time to make sure that those interns are getting what they need. And what I mean by that is, yes, you can give them tasks. Yes, you can have them working on certain things, and they can be promoting your business. But they're going to need guidance. They're going to need direction from time to time. And one thing that I think is very important with an intern is to be able to give them, allow them to try things with calculated risk. And what I mean is, they need to be able to kind of explore and learn through this process. So a calculated risk would be something that maybe I would have an idea of what the outcome should look like. I still needed help on it, but I would allow them to explore ways on how to get to that final outcome. So again, I can't encourage my audience anymore as far as trying interns is a wonderful way to build your business. I think it's definitely worth trying. I think it can be rewarding. I'd like to take the last few minutes of my show today and just talk about my show and kind of share some experiences that I've run into this week. I think it's really interesting. I've been meeting a lot of people through Facebook. Of course, we've got to be a social media specialist. We've got to be involved in Facebook. And I have been chatting with several people. I've been inviting people to be guests on the show. And I thought I wanted to take a few minutes and just really talk about what I envision the show to be and what I'm going to say is my ideal guest and maybe somebody that wouldn't be as much of a fit for the show. An ideal guest for me would be somebody similar to Lauren, similar to Lisa from last week, as far as people that have a passion for what they're doing. Not only that passion, but what meaning down at the bottom of it, so to speak. I know with Lisa of Actor's Choice, hers was like working with young, children actors and helping them to get into the industry. With Lauren today, hers is with ISAC, with interns, and being able to help them. I really loved it when she talked about the peace and understanding and kind of what this is trying to do. So it's helping business owners, yes, it's helping interns, but there's a bigger picture at play, a bigger picture that's being painted. And I think with my show, that's kind of what I'm hoping to do as well. So when I talk about some of the experiences I had this week, I just thought it would be good to share some of the comments that I got off Facebook when I had invited a few people to be on the show. I had comments anywhere from, oh, that's a great idea, to, oh, well, I'm an actor, well, how would that help me? Or musicians saying, well, what's that going to help me? I'm a musician, how is this going to help me? Or maybe a local business, like I'm in New Orleans. Yes, you'll have a few people from New Orleans, but how many people? So it was really all across the board with different responses that I saw on Facebook. One in particular that caught my attention was a young woman who has a beautiful online boutique. And I thought, she would be the perfect guest, especially for my audience, to be able to give you, a business that's being run online, a business that can be basically, you can transact business online. And I thought it was very interesting, though, that she did not want to be on camera. And I thought that made me kind of step back and think a little bit, too, when I'm inviting people and the guests that do want to be on this show. I thought that it would be good for me to talk a little bit about that, because I think it all kind of goes with our bigger picture with Conscious Evolution Media and also with self-awareness, that even as a business owner, if you're not at a certain space, if you're not in a certain place with yourself right now, it might be a little bit harder for you to stretch out for your business. And to me, the good example of that was the young woman who has this beautiful boutique line. Maybe she's camera shy. Maybe for whatever reasons, she didn't, rather than look at the opportunity of being able to get her name out in front of thousands, being able to really take and showcase her products, being able to showcase her achievements, she let her fear of being in front of the camera stand in the way. And I just thought that would be good to kind of touch on, because what I ideally want to bring to both my audience and to my guests is I want this to be a little bit of growth for everyone. And basically, just like I kind of stretched Lauren a little bit about personally, what is she getting from this internship program as far as running it, coming to New Orleans, being in transition. I think that by stretching a little bit, that the show will help people in the sense of showing you that it's okay to be afraid. Trust me, we're all afraid from time to time. I'm going through a personal situation right now where there's times that I'm paralytic. And that's hard for me to say because I'm usually a very strong, independent person. But there's some things in life that just, they can set you back. They can set you back and say, oh my God, how am I going to get through this? And I use this example because even in the show with guests, and I definitely want to encourage a lot more people to contact me about being a guest, but how I would screen you and say, are you right for the show, is I would kind of try to judge and see and use my own intuition as far as where you're at in your growth process. Would this help you grow a little bit? Yes, I want to promote your business. Yes, I want to promote my show. Is this going to help you grow? Is it going to help somebody in my audience? Because this show is as much for my audience. Well, the show is for my audience. It's for the audience in helping you to grow and helping you to get a little bit further in your life, helping you to get further in your business, helping you to become more aware, working through fears. I mean, being on an interview is not easy. I don't know, I take it probably a little easier than a lot of people because I've been in the spotlight a lot of my life. I was a cheerleader in college. I was always out and about and never knew a stranger. I can go up to people, total strangers on the street, and chat them up. That's my personality. I realize not everybody has that personality, and part of my job, though, as a host of this show, is if you are a little more shy but you'd still like to get the word out, I would encourage you to contact me. Let me help you work through that fear. This is a very wonderful medium here. We're able to get our message out in front of thousands across the globe. I'm working on my bare feet today is my motto. Yes, I'm sitting here on my bare feet, and I'm reaching thousands of people. And I love it because it's a medium that we can use as business owners. It's a medium that we can use as beings. And that's one thing that I really wanted to get across. And this message kind of goes out to the musicians that I've talked to recently. This would be a wonderful medium for you because music is such a great gift that people bring. And I really admire artists. I admire musicians. I admire people that have those skills, those talents, those gifts. Part of having those gifts, though, should be sharing those gifts. And what I mean by that is if you're not getting your name out there, if you're not getting, especially through the web. Oh, yes, New Orleans is ripe. We know that for like Mardi Gras. New Orleans is ripe for Super Bowl this weekend for a lot of things. The quarter is ripe. But I would like to actually, in a sense, for the businesses around here, help them to expand their thinking a little bit more and think a little bit outside even of New Orleans. New Orleans is great. It's a wonderful place. But let's share that with other people. And what better way than to get your name in front of thousands of people with an interview, discussing your music, discussing how you got into it, discussing did you choose the music or did music choose you? Those are the type of things that I want guests to share with me and the things that I'd like to share with you. For the artists, the same thing. I'm actually having quite a few actors that I'm talking to that are involved in the film industry in this area. And for those of you that might not be aware of this, I know I wasn't until I moved to New Orleans. New Orleans is almost like Hollywood South now. There's a lot of film industry going on here. There's a lot of filming done in New Orleans. And so there are a lot of film industries that have set up here. There's a lot of actors and actresses that are getting their start here or maybe extending their careers here. So for those that have contacted me in that respect, this, again, is a wonderful medium. It gives you a chance to talk about yourself, about your acting, about what you bring to the table. Being able to just talk to people and let them know what you're about. I recently spoke to a writer. He had published a book, and I believe that book is even for sale on Amazon and maybe Barnes & Noble. But I found it interesting that there's not a website that I found yet, or maybe I just didn't find it. But again, I think part of my role in this show, part of my role as a business owner, part of my role as a barefoot marketer, is to help you to take these wonderful gifts that you have and be able to get them out to the masses so that you can promote yourself, so that my audience can learn more about the different cultures, about the different artists, about the different bands, the different businesses. Everything that goes in to make, like we all have our little piece. It's like a big puzzle. We've all got our piece. All this goes in to make business owners. And I think, too, that I would like my guests to understand that running a business is not easy, and it's going to try you from time to time. I think that's what is probably harder with artists, harder with musicians, for example, because, yes, they have their art down, but the business part of it can be very overwhelming for them. And I think I would even take that a little bit further, even like to beyond agents, as long as you've got the marketing, as long as you've got the sales experience, as long as you've got someone at the helm who's leading that. So that's really important. So again, I just wanted to kind of bring up what I really kind of see my guests looking like. Again, I encourage my audience to become more involved. Please email me at cdrew@nolabarefootmarketer.com. Any questions, concerns that you might have, comments on the show, maybe something you'd like to see. This is me reaching out to you, because without you kind of coming back at me a little bit on this, what would you like to see? I mean, I have an idea what I'd like to see on my show. But you as the viewer, what are you looking for? What would give you benefit? What is going to help you to grow? That is part of our mission here, too. And I think I want to wrap up the last few minutes of the show tonight talking about something that's really been on my mind. So I'm going to actually take it as a little vent session. In a good way, though. Always in a good way. I'm hearing a lot about free. And what I mean by that, and yes, I do say that a lot. I realize I'm probably going to have to work on that. What I mean by that, probably because I've been a teacher in the past and needed to clarify. But there's a mentality that I'm finding a lot in business owners, and I've found this no matter where I go, whether I've been on the East Coast in New York City, whether I've been in New Mexico and Albuquerque, whether I've been in New Orleans, Louisiana. But there's this mentality that I come across a lot that I wanted to touch on, and I'm going to call it the free mentality. As business owners and small business owners, yes, a lot of times we do have to pinch pennies, and we have to find ways to market ourselves or ways to work so that we're not spending as much money. And I understand that. But what I'm finding, kind of a trend that I didn't sit well with me, so to speak, was I'm seeing a trend now of business owners who want a lot of things for free from people. They want free help in advertising. They want free help in marketing. They want free consultations. They want a lot of free things. But they're not, it's almost karmic. Like, if it's free, like, something needs to be coming back. It's like a one-way river again. If you're giving out and giving out, what's coming back? So I'm a firm believer in giving, but I'm also a firm believer that as a marketer doing this for a living, I have to pay bills like everybody else. That there's only to a point that I can give things for free. And what I'm finding, though, that actually helps me to, as a business owner, to kind of narrow down my clients. Because if a person comes to me and I know they're asking for a lot of free things, I know right off they're not my ideal client. And part of that goes, I'm going to get not metaphysical, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper on that. I think that people and potential clients need to be in a certain space. And I know for myself that's how it is. I need clients that understand value. And what I'm getting at, that value is, if I give you X amount of my time, if I give you X amount of my expertise in web design, if I give you X amount of my expertise in social media, there needs to be a reciprocation. It's just the same analogy as like going down to take your car down to a shop. And you're going to, I mean, really? You're going to drive your car in there, your BMW, your Audi, whatever, you're going to drive it in there, and you're going to say, by the way, my car needs to be fixed, so I need to do everything for free. That just doesn't happen. And I just wanted to mention that a little bit because I think that people tend to try to take advantage, maybe not even realizing they're doing that. Again, I don't mind helping people from time to time, but I'm in this to earn a living. Coaches coach to earn a living. Web designers, oh my goodness, it's like we get a lot of things that people don't understand why they're having to pay for that. And I'm finding that I spend a lot of time trying to educate my clients on that. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there that, again, I don't think that free is necessarily bad, but I think it's also a reflection sometimes where if that's all you're focused on is getting for free, that maybe there's something that you need to look at and say, well, what am I giving back? What am I giving back? I would actually encourage barter as much as I would anything versus taking the free. Barter out services. I'll do X amount of hours of work for you if you can do X amount of hours for me and your expertise. That's just something that's been on my mind. I thought I would throw it out there today. I have a feeling it probably will resonate with a person or two, and that's the main thing that I wanted to say. I want to encourage everybody to visit our new website. It has been launched. We're still work in progress, but for now, if you go to www.nolabarefootmarketer.com, that's www.nolabarefootmarketer.com. In New Orleans, it's very common to use NOLA. So again, please visit us at our new website. Feel free to email me at cdrew@nolabarefootmarketer.com. And of course, visit me on Conscious Evolution Media. I want to thank everybody for being our guest this evening, for our audience. Thank you for your time. I've enjoyed it. I hope that you've gotten a little bit out of it. And again, please feel free to give me feedback and let me know what kind of programs you'd like to see on this show. The Barefoot Marketer can be seen on Thursdays, every Thursday, including Valentine's Day, 4 4 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, I thank you. I encourage everybody to visit our show. Definitely check out the new Conscious Evolution Media. I think you're going to find a lot of new things, good things coming about with that, and a lot of very valuable information. So this is Constance Drew, the Barefoot Marketer, saying namaste. Have a good evening.
Today's podcast is brought to you by ObesityHotline.com, the silent killer, providing support and encouragement in the prevention of this rising epidemic. Featuring the Body by Vi Challenge. Is there a quick answer to the question? Go to www.obesityhotline.com. You're watching and listening to Conscious Evolution Media, shifting global consciousness at ConsciousEvolutionMedia.com.